You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 127.
There was like a flock of chickens, I guess. Or is that what you call it? A gaggle of chickens or a flock of chickens? Or right? I mean, but like geese aren't, whatever. So either way, but he wouldn't call them chickens. He called them yard birds. He's like, get out of here, yard bird. It's the first time I ever heard it, and it's stuck ever since because I thought it was hysterical.
Change Your POV is a blog and podcast that covers topics veterans care about and presents them in a different way. Veteran suicide, women in combat arms, PTSD, productivity and networking. These are just a few topics we all know veterans care about. But what about introspection, becoming a better father or husband, or knowing that it's okay to cry? A lot of these things veterans still care about, but may not be as open to. Change Your POV breaks away from these stereotypes and gets to the heart of what really matters. One day, we all take off our uniform for the last time, and underneath is just a man, a father, or a husband that desires just one thing: to be successful. The topics we cover here help you do just that. Because after all, perspective is the vantage point of success. Now here are your hosts, Eddie Lazary and Bennett Tanton. Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast. I am Eddie Lazary.
And I am Bennett Tanton.
And we are going to talk about, a lot of shit, actually. So, if I sound a little funny, it's because I'm a little under the weather. And my wife would say my fabussy hurts. So
my fabussy hurts.
so she's probably right. There's nothing worse than a man cold, folks, and I have one. So I apologize in advance. I will do my best to try to clear my throat away from the microphone or whatever. So this episode is going to be coming out after Thanksgiving, but before Christmas. Is kind of an in-between holiday. We've got a couple of those. And we decided we're going to just take this opportunity. This is the year anniversary of Change Your POV. We may do some discussions, kind of a look back into our progression thus far. We're going to talk about some crazy things that Ben and I have been talking about offline that we might want to bring on air and share with the listeners. And it's just no agenda. We're just going to kind of
winging it.
Yeah,
we're going
to wing it
today.
So nice pun there, Bennett. So
yeah.
This episode we're calling, what was it?
Yard birds.
Yard birds. Okay. Yeah. So we've had some experiences with regard to birds, as it were, as of late, and so we're going to talk about that.
So if you don't know what a yard bird is, folks, it's basically a chicken.
Yes.
And I learned that enduring phrase yard bird when I lived in North Carolina. And this is back in 96, 97.
Wow. I was graduating high school.
Yeah. And thanks. Thanks for making me feel really old. I look in the mirror and it's, yeah.
You're welcome.
But anyway, so I sold insurance in rural North Carolina. And it was Medicare supplements. Okay.
Oh, shit.
I actually really liked it because you just talk to older people, and tried to sell them Medicare supplements. Well, there was this one couple, an old black couple outside of Burgaw, North Carolina. And I pulled up to their house, like they had called, and actually it was an actual referral. So they wanted to buy something,
Right.
So I pulled up, and the house was basically like a 20 by 20 shack.
That was the house?
That was the house.
Wow.
I was like, oh my, what, do I have the right address? So I get out of my car and I'm walking up, and this gentleman steps out, very well dressed, I was like, okay, wow. It just did not fit with that shack,
Right.
basically.
Yeah. So you were
Um,
you were judging the book by its cover at this point.
Well, no, I wasn't. I was just kind of like in shock, right?
Yeah.
But there was these freaking chickens everywhere, man. There was like a flock of chickens, I guess. Or is that what you call it?
Yeah, I guess
A gaggle of chickens or a flock of chickens or
I think
something.
it's a flock. I mean, they're birds, right? So I think
Right. I mean, but like geese aren't, I don't know, whatever. So either way, but he wouldn't call them chickens. He called them yard birds. He's like, get out of here, yard bird.
and that's the first time you heard that term.
That's the first time I ever heard it, and it's stuck ever since because I thought it was hysterical. So I like created the other thing that's funny is from that, I went home and later that week, I like to make pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I used to really like to make pizza. I don't really do it much anymore. But I made this pizza and I dubbed it the barbecue yard bird.
Nice.
So instead of using tomato sauce, I used barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
With grilled chicken that was tossed in the sauce, and you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
So barbecue yard bird.
Nice.
Anyway,
yes. So yard bird.
That's where that endearment came from.
Yeah.
This like 72-year-old black man in rural North Carolina stuck that phrase right in my head, and it's never left since.
So I don't know about you, but like whenever I do something new, I go like all in. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
I'm all in. So couple of years ago, my family, my wife and daughter wanted to get chickens. And, you know, I think every little girl at some point like has the desire to want chickens. So we're like, all right, chickens.
Not so much they really want the chickens.
Yeah,
I think they want the chicks.
Yeah, they want the chicks. Yeah. So we went to what was it, Tractor Supply? You know, every year they do that.
Man.
They have the little chicks inside.
They get chickens and ducklings and the whole thing.
Yeah,
Dude.
we did that. So we got chicken. We got the little chicks and the little ducks, of course.
Yeah.
And we brought it home. We knew nothing about neither, and other than they grow up and become chickens and ducks. But they weren't chickens and ducks when we bought them. They were chicks and ducklings. Ducklings, yes. And so, yeah, it was kind of cool because, you know, they waddled around and did a little thing, and we had to get the heat lamps and the.
Oh, they're so cute and fuzzy and yellow.
Oh, yeah.
And then they turn green.
And no, that's a different story. Hold on, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Sorry. I'll just sit back and listen.
So we get these chickens, and then they get older, and the ducks too. And of course, we didn't have anywhere to put them outside, so we had to make a pen thing. And oh, geez, and I was just excited for the chickens to finally get old enough to actually start laying eggs. That's what I was waiting for.
Right, of course.
And I
want something productive to happen with this freaking purchase, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I'm over the whole chick thing. I'm interested in the eggs, and so eventually the chickens finally start to lay eggs, and then finally it got to the point where I got eggs coming out my earballs, dude.
Now,
like,
how many chickens and ducks did we buy? Here, Eddie.
More than we should have. I think I because when you go to Tractor Supply and you say, you know, fill up the box, it doesn't look like a lot, right? It doesn't look like a lot, but when they get big and full grown, that's
a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of yard birds, bro. And so we had this pen. We kept the ducks like together and the chickens together because I think they wanted it that way anyway. And so all of a sudden we started to get these eggs from these chickens, and I'm excited, you know, fresh eggs, and they do taste much better.
Oh yeah,
because they were for the most part grass, you know, free range chickens.
Well, they're free range, and that's see people if you've never had like a true free range chicken egg, yard bird egg, it's a different
Well,
experience.
you could tell because the yolk is even a different color. It's like
Yeah,
a
it's
really,
orange,
yeah, it's really, really deep, dark
and they're
orange.
just like
Yeah,
rich.
yeah, like really thick.
Did
Like,
you eat duck eggs?
okay, so here's the other point, right? I don't know why, but I didn't even think about the fact that the ducks are going to lay eggs too.
Hmm?
So I was shocked when I went out one day and I saw these eggs all over in the duck pen. I couldn't figure
You're
out
like,
how.
wait, what?
I couldn't
What?
figure out how the chickens got in there. Right? Like, how'd the chickens get in the duck pen? There's eggs in here, but they were different shape. They were more oblong than the
Yeah,
chicken egg.
and a slightly bigger, right?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit bigger. And I was like, oh, look at this. So I brought some of those in. I didn't know, like, can you eat duck eggs? I know you can, but like I never even really considered it before.
Right. Did
So
you?
I never, no,
Dude,
I didn't try
dude,
it.
you're missing out.
I know.
They're so good.
Well, little did I know, inside the little hut thing that we built for them, there was a chicken, or not a chicken, a mother duck in there that had laid a whole slew of eggs she was sitting on. Because one day I come home from work and there is just all of these little ducks running around the yard.
Oh shit.
And yeah, they had babies, and I had no idea that they were even, like, laying eggs
Yeah,
and doing the
yeah.
whole thing. And but the thing about this is all of the adult ducks were inside the pen, but the fence was big enough for the ducklings
Ducklings.
could get out. So the ducklings were like running outside the pen, running
You're
around.
like, oh my god.
Yeah, and well, that attracted our local fox, or two or three, however many there were,
Oh man.
and
It's the
little.
circle of life, my
Yeah,
friend.
man. Little bit at a time, one at a time, the ducks started to disappear. The ducklings, to start with, and we kind of went out. One time, I went outside and caught the fox pulling a duckling through the fence by its head. Right? And I was like, damn.
Hey, ho!
I was like, damn. Like, you got too close to the fence, didn't you? So, anyway, I'm getting off track here. So yeah, so we had ducks and chickens, more than we should have. The all of the ducks ended up. How do I put this nicely? They all ended up incorporating the circle of life.
Oh man.
Yeah, and whatever. It was what it was. We didn't know what we were doing with the whole, like, we had no idea.
Yeah.
It was like new parents that are having kids, like, that shouldn't be having kids, right? Like, we had these animals
Right.
that we shouldn't probably have had. We did everything we could to try to help protect them and keep them safe, but apparently we didn't do a good enough job. All the ducks ended up, that they all were consumed by our
Fox
local.
food.
Well, fox and skunk and God, there was all kinds of things started to creep
See,
around the
for
house.
people that don't know, Eddie kind of lives in a rural,
Yeah, it's very rural. Yeah, yeah,
rural area. Now, how big is your little area there?
about 2 acres.
About 2 acres.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So back to the chickens. So because of the duck thing, having eggs and chicks and all this, I was intrigued by that, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. It's like, I want to see if I can hatch my own chicks, right? Because we had some roosters and, of course, had hens, and they were doing their thing. So I knew the eggs were fertilized. And so I did some research, and I got like an incubator. Actually, I made an incubator out of like a styrofoam cooler
Yeah.
and like a light bulb and a thermometer, and right, because I'm
Yeah.
good. Because as we know, I'm good with my hands, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And if you don't know where that reference comes from, listen to episode 28.
Yeah.
I'm good with my hands, and so
Especially with chainsaws.
yeah, yeah. So I made this incubator, and I ended up hatching our own, like, baby chicks, which is really cool. But as soon as they were hatched, like, I was all done. I was all set. I was done. Like,
Then you're like, all right, that experiment's done.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Done.
I wanted nothing to do with the
Get
chickens.
rid of
I
these.
just
Get rid of these chicks, please.
I just wanted to see if I could do it.
That's
So-
like you're like Hannah. Get rid of the chicks, please.
So we added to our flock, as it were, and and yeah, we had them for many, many, many years, and they eventually get old, and that kind of thing. And I never really experimented with actually eating chickens. Well, I mean, eating like butchering my own chicken.
Yeah.
Obviously, I go to the store and buy chicken like everybody else. But when you're buying an already killed, already defeathered, already gutted, already everything prepackaged like chicken, and you bring it home and you quarter it or whatever, you cook it, fry it up, like it's chicken, but you've disassociated with the fact that it was like alive, clucking around with feathers and shit on it. Do you know what I mean? Like you just lose that whole connection with it, and then so to actually see one and to take its life and to defeather it and all that, and then to eat it, it's a whole different ball game, man.
Yeah, man. That's like changing perspective. That's like
yeah.
That's what this show's all about.
Yeah.
Change your POV.
Right.
So straight up, you got a crash course in let's provide and manage and create basically our own food.
Yes. So my first stab at this whole butchering our own chickens thing, and oh my God.
You butchered it, basically.
Well, yeah, I hope there's two types of audiences that are not listening to this. One, anybody that's like
PETA.
yeah, anyone that's PETA or anyone that's like in the
vegan.
Okay, 3 people. and anybody that's like really looks down on child abuse. Okay, ready? So
they're chickens, though. But anyway.
Well, no. Well, hold on.
No. I got you.
So,
I see where you're going.
So, all right. So at the time, my daughter was maybe, oh man, she was maybe 7, right? Maybe. How old is your youngest?
8.
Okay, yeah. So she's right around 7, 8 years old. So imagine your youngest, right? My son was 6 years older, so he was, getting into his close to teens, and so I went out there and I grabbed that little hatchet, and I didn't know any better, so I took like a little block of wood, and I grabbed the chicken and I kind of laid it over the block of wood, and I hacked off the head, and of course it ran around. You know that expression, running
literally
around
ran around like a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah, like literally, like it flopped.
You're just full of cliches today.
I know, but it really happens. Like I let it go and it started to run around without its head and splurting like blood everywhere. It was
another experiment.
It was horrific. And
does a chicken actually run around with its head cut off?
It does. My son was watching this carnage happen from the other side.
No.
From the other side of the yard with like this grimacing look on his face, like, oh my God, like he looked like he was about to hurl. My daughter, however, my youngest, 7, 8-year-old, she is literally right next to me, like in awe. She's like,
that's how Georgia would be too.
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's awesome.
She'd be in it.
So we get the
Can I do it, Daddy?
That's what she said. She's like, can I do the next one? And I look up at my wife and I'm like, kind of like this look like, should we let her do this? Like, are we ready for this? And like, whatever, man. It's, we're going to eat them. And so I couldn't so part of this whole thing is you kind of have to hold the head, stretch the head out away from the body to make the neck longer in order to give yourself a bigger target. So when I first did this, I reached down and I pulled the chicken's head, stretched out over the block of wood, and I handed my daughter the hatchet, who's never really wielded a hatchet before.
Oh,
and
man.
I realized like how bad this could end up for my fingers, right? So I was like, change of plans. We got to do something different here. So I went and found a rake, and I kind of looped the head of the chicken into the prongs of the rake.
Gotcha. Understand.
So instead of that being my fingers, it was the rake. And so I did that, and I stretched the chicken head away from the body, did the neck out as far as I could. And I told my daughter, I said, all right, hold the hatchet with both hands, and as hard as you can, just aim for right here. And she's okay. And whack, she kind of goes down onto the chicken, hits the neck, but not even hard enough to cut it. It probably
man.
it probably broke its neck, but it didn't. It's flopping around like it's still alive. And I'm like, hit it again. So she hits it again, and she clips a little part of its neck, and a little blood starts to come out. I'm like, hit it again. And so she hits it again, and I'm like, keep going, keep going. She's like, whack, 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 whack.
Oh, no. We're totally getting sued for animal cruelty right now.
Dude, by the time...
we're gonna have people boycotting our show.
Oh, dude, by the time she was done, covered in blood, right?
Oh, no.
Her face, her shirt, her hands, the hatchet, me. Like, it was like a scene out of, like, Friday the 13th. Like Jason was like...
Voorhees. Jeez.
Finally the chicken, like, runs away with its chicken. Like, the chickens run around like, finally, thank God the head is finally off, right? Like the chicken was thankful. And I was like, I looked at my wife and I'm like, at this point I'm feeling like a terrible father, right?
Like, well, that just happened.
Like this is gonna scar her for life. She's gonna go to school and try to tell this story, and it's not gonna come out.
CPS is gonna show up at your house.
Yeah. So it was one of those moments where like, not getting the Father of the Year award right now. Just not happening. No Grammys for me. And so I'm like, okay, that's enough. And she's like, can I do another? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, nope. That's
all good. Enough abuse. Enough. We need to be humane, honey.
I'm like,
and repeatedly smacking the chicken's neck is not humane.
I'm like, that's enough blood for today, honey. Let's go and defeather these things. And so the next step, of course, is to dunk them in boiling hot water and defeather them. However, I since I'm good with my hands, saw a YouTube video of someone that made a defeatherer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I made what I thought was going to be an effective defeatherer that involved, I won't get into the mechanics, but it involved maybe a drill or two with some crazy attachments that I made that were supposed to resemble like rubber fingers, and it was
right, exactly. Oh my God,
it was horrific. So I turned that on.
Why did I want to record about this topic?
I know you asked, man.
I know.
So I turned this contraption thing on, and I put my newly dunked headless chicken through this contraption, and it not only defeathered it, but it defeathered, deskinned, demeated, deboned, like it turned this shit into like pulled chicken instantly. And so we ended up having to throw the chicken. Well, both of them. That's what happened to both of them, because the first one it was like kind of a practice run. The second time I was like, oh, I got this, and the second time it happened again, and so. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Hey, guess what, honey? Look what I just invented. It's like the girl on YouTube that freaking decided to do the corn.
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, let me eat the corn on this, and next thing you know, her hair ripped out. Did you see that video?
Her scalp ripped out. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then they cut away, and I'm like, no, I want to see the aftermath. Like, I want to see this girl freaking out. But
see the look on her face? She was like, oh
my God. Did that just really happen? And you could see like the shock, like not shock, like, oh my God, I'm shocked. Like actual shock. Like I got shot.
Yeah, like
rip. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait, did half of my scalp just come off?
Yes,
am I back in like the 1800s right now?
She's like, oh my God, no amount of makeup's gonna cover this up.
No, like that's done. You're done. It's not growing back, sweetheart.
No, man.
You know what I mean?
No.
All because of what? Some corn on a freaking drill.
I don't even know why she was doing that.
That's why it's like whenever we do any, because my 8-year-old likes to do carpentry stuff.
Yeah.
I won't let her. After seeing that video, I'm like, all right, we're putting your hair up in a bun.
Yeah. Well,
You know, like
I saw
oh
another
God.
video where it was the same kind of thing. It was a kid that had a like a corn on the cob on a drill, and
Yeah.
they turned that shit on high and it was trying to like eat the corn off the cob, and
Yeah.
it like blew out like four of his front teeth.
Oh my God. Like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Like, so have you seen this new thing? I'm not trying to get away from your story here, but the new thing that kids are doing, it's like the new challenge, like the ALS bucket challenge or the 22 push-ups a day. This new thing now is that it's very much like a promotion ceremony in the military where like the gauntlet.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have the guys and girls, I've seen both, line up on either side and somebody runs through the middle and they smash them with their backpacks.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
exactly.
Like
They
I'm
are
sure the
getting like,
backpacks are full of books and
oh yeah, man,
yeah.
people are like getting straight up hurt.
Wow. No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen this.
It's got nothing to do with this. It's just the whole like why the stupid ass YouTube celebrity shit. Like, why are you doing dumb stuff like corn on the cob, beating each other with backpacks? You know,
I think people just want to one up the next
it's
person.
got to be. It has to be, I guess. But it's yeah. Check it out.
Ah,
And get on the Google machine, folks. Check out the.
what are they calling the challenge?
Let's take a look really quick.
Called
Actually,
the backpack challenge to bring awareness to.
it might very well be the backpack challenge.
Is it the backpack challenge where we bring awareness to people that are interested in walking out of their school in protest of the presidential nominations?
That's it. The backpack challenge.
Really? That's what they? Not even
The backpack
creative.
challenge is stupid, hilarious, and will make you feel old. Yeah, man.
Huh?
Painful new video craze. Well, it's just like what we had the Harlem Shake or whatever.
Yeah. Remember the planking? Remember planking?
Yeah, planking. You know, everyone's always got the some kind of new.
We got to come up with something, you and me. We got to come up with something that will go viral so we can add that shit to our resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We'll have to think about that.
to do like some kind of flash mob thing.
Like the flash, like people just start dancing, or the kind
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
open up your coat and show everybody what
No,
you got.
no, yeah, not one of those. You don't need that. Yeah, thanks for the turkey picture, by the way.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Anyway,
So that was that was the first set of chickens that we had.
oh my God,
They yeah. It
but
was-
no, folks. Wait, there's more.
Yes, there's more. And so one day recently, like I think when was it?
That was
In the spring. In the spring, I come home from work, and we have, drum roll please, a whole nother batch of baby chicks.
chicken.
Yes, no ducks this time, just chicks.
Just chicks.
And not as many as before. We only had 12 this time, and they were little and they were cute, like all chicks are. And we've got dogs too. And
Now,
my,
question actually,
yeah,
how long did it take for them to start laying?
probably 9-10 months.
So not too long,
No, under a year, but it depends on the breed and.
but
all
long
that.
enough for it to be a pain in the ass, literally.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely, yeah. And so these were chicks, and my daughter, which is older now at this point, she's now 14. She decides that she was gonna hold one, and so she's holding one in the kitchen, and of course all of the dogs are like, are smelling that shit, like checking it out, like, ooh, what's
Yeah.
this,
Oh, no.
and so
You're not allowed anymore.
So my daughter is letting like the dogs smell this chicken, and then all of a sudden, one of the dogs like, oh, that shit's food. It started in on this chicken. Like all of a sudden, like all you hear is this commotion. My daughter's yelling, screaming, like trying to fend off the dog. Well, the dog ended up like getting a hold of it a little bit, kind of, tearing it open, and there was a little bit of
Oh
blood.
man.
But we patched it up, and it was fine, and it grew up to be a good, healthy chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah,
Yard bird.
a yard bird. Yes, and this was a different kind of chicken. They call them silkies. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah. Are they the ones that have like the feet and the
Yeah. They got like the little light
long
down,
feathers?
the down feathers on their feet,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
white.
Right.
Yeah. So not all of them, like 6 of them were those kind, and then the other 6 were regular, like egg layer hens or whatever. But we had a
Gotcha.
couple of roosters in there too. And so this is right around the time when you and I were doing our 30 and 60 day well fit challenge, and we were eating paleo and losing weight and all this. And I'm like, all right, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna go and butcher some chickens, right? And yeah, I do it a little. I go on YouTube and I look for a different way, a more humane way of actually butchering a chicken. Not just taking its life, but like I'm gonna do the full feather plucking thing and the whole.
Minus the drill.
Yeah, no drill, none of that fun. And I actually had to learn how to do the gutting portion because I didn't get that far in my first attempt. I literally shredded the shit out of both of them, and that was the end of my first attempt. So I never even got to the how do you gut it type of thing. So I got on YouTube and learned how to do this. So I got the chickens and I butchered a couple and got the hot water and I dunked it and I defeathered it. And oh my God, that took a lot of work. Defeathering a chicken by hand is, I realize why they make defeathering machines.
Right.
Because if you're going to do a good number of chickens, like a lot of times people that do this for like a living.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You
It's
know,
like it's one thing to like just defeather
like
one.
one or
Then-
two. Right.
Right.
Like I got a guy that I work with every year. Like they raise and butcher chickens every year, and it's like a family, kind of like how you have like that co-op garden.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that
Yep.
community garden. Well, they do
Yep.
the same thing, but they do that with chickens. And then when it comes time to slaughter, they'll literally bring over 30, 40 people, and they'll
Yeah,
do
so,
like
I mean, but if you've
300
got-
chickens.
Right. But if you've got all those people, you've got like a rotation.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
You know
almost
what I
like
mean?
a manufacturer, like a line,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just me. I'm home by myself, and I'm gonna do these chickens. So I dunk them, I defeather them, and as soon as I get like the first few handfuls plucked off, I look and I'm like, what the fuck is, like, what is this? like the chicken was like blue, dude. It was
Yeah,
like,
I know. I have one in my freezer.
it was like bluish green. I'm like, oh my God, I must have dunked this one too long or something. Like, like I didn't know. I never even seen such. So I get all of the feathers off, and this chicken is like bluish green. It was horrifying. horrifying. So I bring it in the house. I do both of them. I bring them both in the house. They're both bluish green. And I took some pictures of it, and I sent the pictures to you and to my brother and like a couple other people. And you and my brother came back almost instantly. And my brother says, is it supposed to be that Velociraptor green?
Exactly.
I'm like,
It's a dinosaur.
yes. Like, not is it supposed to be green or is it supposed to be blue? Like he coined the term Velociraptor green. Like, because
Green,
that's exact.
right.
Like dragon, it looked like it.
No, it does.
It looked like
I'm like, does it look like a dragon? Like my daughters are like, what is that?
You're like, we're gonna eat that.
I'm like, it's a dragon.
It's a baby dragon.
It's a baby dragon, honey.
How to train your dragons. Here you go.
If you didn't know, I am on Game of Thrones.
Dude, it was horrifying. And so I told my brother, because he was having a barbecue thing over at his house in a couple days. I was like, I'm bringing these over and we're gonna barbecue them. And he was like,
Grill pictures are fabulous.
he was like, oh my God, okay. And so he's got a big green egg barbecue. You know what I'm talking about? And so I bring 2 of these Velociraptor chickens over to his house, and I captured some pictures and I put it on like Facebook Live and stuff. And what was crazy about them is when you got the skin off of them and you got down into the meat, like the meat is like purple.
Yeah, it's really deep
Yeah,
colored.
it really like purple. And so we ended up he quartered them. You know, we took the skin off because we just couldn't handle the Velociraptor skin.
Velociraptor green.
Yeah,
It's actually, folks, it's going to be a new car color.
yeah,
Velociraptor green,
yeah,
and we're going to put it on like sports cars or what's that? Oh, there is a truck called the Raptor, isn't there?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
The Ford Raptor, Velociraptor green.
Yes, yes.
I trademark it right now.
It's ours. So
Mine.
we ended up cooking it, and my brother like cooks the shit out. I mean, to the point where it was way overdone. Right? It was like burnt, and he was like, you never can be too safe, man. You can't be too sure. You got to make sure. I was like, he's like, because of the color of the skin, you can't
People
tell.
are
Like,
so fun.
yeah, yeah. So we ended up overcooking the shit out of it, and we ate it. It tastes like burnt chicken, but other than that, it was still chicken.
So
But
I have to say, the one that you gave well, just for our listeners, Eddie gave me two of these Velociraptor green chickens,
yeah,
and so I'm the only one that would eat it because it was green. I mean, my kids, I finally forced them to eat it. Talk about child abuse, but I finally forced them to eat not the skin part, but the meat. And they're like, it tastes like chicken. I'm like, that's because it is a chicken.
right. Well,
Um,
I looked it up, and it turns out those particular chickens, they're raised and used. They're delicacy in China. So
Everything's a delicacy in China.
yeah,
I bet they give you virile freaking wood too, don't they? Like every other delicacy in the world.
yeah,
Anyway,
yes. So
so but it was good. I marinated it, grilled it. It was fantastic. The other one I'm gonna make chicken soup out of.
yeah,
So
that's what we
that
did with
might
the.
be green. I wonder.
Well, my brother and I, we took the meat off of the carcass and grilled it, and then we took the carcass and we put it into a big pot with vegetables and we made chicken broth out of it.
Yeah.
It was excellent. It didn't turn to green or anything.
No, no, exactly. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna boil the whole chicken.
Yeah,
Um, with the meat and everything. It's just the way that, so you make a stock
yeah, yeah.
and then I'll probably keep boiling the carcass and make bone broth because I like to drink that every few days. I'll take a big old swig of bone broth, but I always, I know that it's clean
Yep.
chicken, that it's from Eddie's yard, and I know he's not feeding it. He was feeding it organic vegetables, for God's sakes. So I'm,
Yep. Yeah,
and
because all my chickens had the opportunity to eat all of the.
the
Because
scraps.
yeah, because we were eating a lot of vegetables when we were doing the paleo thing, and I was juicing, and so yeah, those guys ate well, really well.
So they had them and the little critters, the natural critters that they eat anyway, the bugs and worms and
Yep.
everything else. So I knew that it was clean. So I will definitely make bone broth out of those chickens. I made one out of all right. So the one that I told you, which was not a Velociraptor green chicken, and I just roasted it. It was delicious. But then I took the carcass and made it into bone broth as well.
Yeah,
So,
man. So that's excellent. So it's kind of this 'tis the season, right? So everybody's gonna have turkey tomorrow and probably on Thanksgiving or Christmas
turkey
as well.
today.
Are you doing turkey today?
Yeah.
So
Isn't today's Thanksgiving? So
oh yeah, that is today. I said tomorrow. Today is Thanksgiving, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. But this show will not release obviously on Thanksgiving. But
right.
yeah, so we're gonna go over to my brother's for dinner tonight, and then we're going to do our own little dinner here at the house tomorrow for my
Cool.
son and his girlfriend, and just keeping it small,
cool.
keeping it
Yeah.
local. But I mean, we like to cook our own turkey anyway, just so we can have leftovers. I mean, I think the best part of turkey
wouldn't you?
dinner is the leftovers. To be honest with you,
Absolutely, man.
like I love turkey sandwiches more than I like fresh, hot out of the oven turkey.
Yeah, for sure. I know exactly
So,
what you mean.
yep.
Yeah, I get to work today, so
Oh my God. Yeah. Is that like? Did you volunteer or no?
no, it's just the way that it all. I didn't ask for.
Oh,
I
you didn't ask for it off. Yeah.
And just because you can't have all of them,
Right.
and it was kind of like Thanksgiving. The way that I looked at it is this: we're gonna have 19 people here,
Yeah.
and
You're going on vacation.
I want to not deal with that.
You'd rather deal with a bunch
I'm
of
just
homeless
being
veterans.
honest, folks. Right. I would rather, if need be, for those of you that don't know, I work for the VA. I'm sure you've all know that. And I help homeless veterans.
Yeah.
So I will be working the call center tonight for and it's a nationwide call center, kind of like the Veterans Crisis Line, but it's for homelessness. So I will be manning the homeless hotline tonight. I probably won't get a lot of calls, but I'm pretty sure I'll get some.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. You never know. Because you get the weirdest calls at the weirdest times,
I bet.
I must say.
I'm sure that a lot of the calls that you get really have nothing to do with needing a home or being homeless. It's probably other. Like, do you get like calls where people just ask random like stupid questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just do random stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have a couple guys that are, we have what we call legacy callers. Or, they're not legacy callers. What the hell's the name of them?
Frequent flyers?
Basically. But, so you got guys that'll call from jail. And they might be they're veterans, but they'll call and like harass the women that work there.
And you can't prevent that either. Huh?
No, you can't. Other than immediately transfer them to some, and then you've got the guys that call and they just suck.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy people out there.
Oh yeah.
And they come out of the woodwork and they call suicide hotlines and they just obviously have nothing better to do with their time, nothing constructive at least.
Right.
Right.
So let me ask you, where was the craziest place you ever spent when you were in the service? You spent Thanksgiving.
Holy hell.
Because they didn't. I mean, it almost like they planned to be out in the field around Thanksgiving every year. For some reason, It seemed like every year I was out in the field during Thanksgiving.
Well, Egypt was kind of crazy. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we didn't even, it was Thanksgiving and we were like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
We didn't,
no decorations.
We didn't have turkey. We didn't decorate. We just kind of were like, happy Thanksgiving. Here's some freaking whatever. I don't even remember what we ate, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't turkey.
Camel.
Could have been. So there was that time. Bosnia, when I was deployed there during Thanksgiving, that was like a big old, one of the ones, because I was actually back on the main base camp. So they, they always do it up with turkey. And
did the Bosnians also celebrate Thanksgiving or no?
Of course not.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
They're like, Thanksgiving, what are you talking about?
Right, yeah.
Like they had no idea, but they just knew it was some stupid American tradition.
Right, yeah.
And it's not stupid, but it also isn't. I love the portrayal of it, like that you learn in school. And that's starting to change a little bit, But what's funny, so I am a product of the Mayflower.
Would you go on Ancestry.com or some shit?
No. My aunt is she does that basically, that's her thing. She's a genealogist.
Really?
So she's got us traced back to shit.
So was that you bringing the
Way
slaves
back in
over,
time.
or?
No, smart ass. But
Okay.
I am a direct descendant of Miles Standish, who was the military commander of the Plymouth Colony.
Huh? Really?
He is a grandfather of mine,
No
like
kidding.
12 times removed or however many back it is. I don't remember, but
Wow.
he is my great 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 grandfather on my mom's side. So, so I remember studying this. So this is just Bennett. When I get something in my head, I research the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like 10 or 11, you know, and I'm starting to get that it's not the Pilgrims and the Indians living in perfect harmony, and
Right.
they
Yeah.
just decided to come together and eat turkey and stuffing and potatoes. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like the nice little fairy tale that's given to you in school, right?
Right.
So I start really digging, and my mom taught at Illinois State University. So I had access to the university library,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally would go and like take out like old school reference book, like first reference books. You know what I mean? Like some of the old books.
Yeah, like you knew how to work a Dewey Decimal System.
Correct, back in
Yeah.
the day. Like this is before, this
Yeah.
this is literally you're looking through the card,
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
opening the drawer and looking through the cards. So I did all my research, and I basically went into school a few weeks later and was like, "Yeah, you're all lying to us."
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
So,
This did not
you
go
know,
down that way.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty fun. Did not go down the way that you say it did. Blah blah blah. We're a bunch of,
Well,
it,
I mean it's true for not just for the Mayflower and Thanksgiving and the Indians and all that, but I mean so many things that we grow up with as kids are actually from some pretty dark places.
oh yeah,
Like even a lot of the little children's songs, little carols or whatever.
oh yeah, man.
What's that
They
one
weren't
that
carols.
Rose, like Popsy, what is it? Ah, something full of roses, ashes, ashes. We all fall
They
down.
all fall
You
down.
know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that was about the plague, man. It was about the
Yeah. Correct.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah,
millions of
man.
people dying of the plague, and
Ooh-wee.
yeah, yeah. So, but you don't learn that as a kid. You just learn the little jingle or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Like Christopher Columbus, that whole thing.
Yep. Yep.
So much.
Yeah, it is. I guess what it is. But,
It is.
and
But
you get
it's you know what? It's an example of history is written by the victors.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But the thing about it is we get older, we turn into adults, and we think we become wise to things that are not real. However, a lot of people fall prey to, when we were little, we believed these little things that we were told, and then we get older, we do the same thing, but we believe what the media tells us, and if it's on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, if it's on,
Yeah. No.
and people just don't take the time to do what you're saying and going and researching and finding out on their own and learning for themselves what's true and what
It's
isn't.
because they'd rather choose between a red pill and a blue pill.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know how we got here, but that's a good point.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you freelance.
Yep.
When you just go.
That's
We went
right.
from Yardbirds to red pills and blue pills, folks.
As long as it's a Velociraptor green pill. in there somewhere.
Velociraptor green pill right in the middle.
That's awesome.
So choose.
All right, we're gonna wrap this one here, folks. If you want to hear Bennett and I talk about a specific topic or learn something that we haven't already covered,
Please, God, let us know.
yeah, reach out. I would love to entertain some ideas of some topics. If you want to do it anonymously, just I don't know, just shoot me an email or on Facebook or
Smoke signals.
yeah, something. Let us know. We'd love to entertain some topics or ideas that you guys have out there. It would be kind of cool. Yeah, so we're going to do our next. Oh, so everybody knows we're going to do kind of a relaunch. We want to talk about the relaunch real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So we're
Real
going to do
quick.
kind of a relaunch of Change Your POV starting in January. We're going to do things a little bit different. We're still going to have a 3-week episode show where we do Motivation Monday, still going to stay the same. Wednesday, what we're calling Interview Wednesday, still going to be the same. And of course, Attack Friday will still be the same. But what we decided to do, we decided to break things up by month into topics. So, for example, in the month of January, those 4 weeks in January, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, no, so there's 5 weeks in January.
5 weeks in January.
So the 5 weeks in January, now the Motivation Mondays, those are going to be what they are. They're just going to continue. Bennett and I will go back and forth with a quote and talk about what that quote means to us. So that's not going to change. The interview, however, we're either going to bring on a guest and talk about something that relates to that month's topic, or we're going to do a show together where we pick a topic and that is relative to that month's topic, and then we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, our Attack Friday, we're going to implement whatever actionable tips, tricks, or coachable knowledge we choose are going to play in some way along with the monthly theme. So, for example, the monthly theme for January, I wrote them all down, but I don't have the list in front of me. Do you remember what it was?
I don't.
Ah,
I was actually looking. I'm looking right now, and I can't. I can't find it. All I know is it won't be Yardbirds.
no. We're going to do things that obviously are relevant to the veteran community and educating non-veterans as well. But we're going to keep it kind of, focused. We want to make sure that what we're talking about each week within that month's scheme or whatever is relevant to that topic. Like, so for example, and I don't know if this is the correct topic for January, but like one of the months we're going to talk about like productivity and things that you could do to become more productive, whether it be books that we've read, tools that we've come across, experts in the field, whatever the case may be. Another month may be a topic about
Goals and objectives.
goals and objectives. How do you obtain a goal? How do you follow through? How do you measure goals? Things like that. And so we're going to take things in much more of a bite-sized, consumable fashion with each of these topics. And
Are we going to do Well, all right. So what I've got is goals and objectives, professional and personal development,
Yep.
networking, branding, productivity, execution, and relationship building.
Right. Yes.
But I don't remember the order.
Yeah, I don't either. But we've got it in a specific order for a reason. And we've got it. We've planned out those topics. Well, the overarching topics for the next 6 months.
January will be goals and objectives.
Okay, good. Which makes sense because January is
correct. It's the New Year's, the whole thing.
Yeah. So goals and
Blah,
objectives
blah, blah.
we're going to start in January, and then February I think we chose relationships because February is Valentine's Day, right?
Yes,
so we're going to
correct.
talk
And that was
about
relationships.
Yep.
And then, so we had relationships in March, networking and branding.
Yep.
April is execution. And that was where that ended for me. I didn't
Okay.
get anything after that. But anyway, that's a little sneak peek of what's coming.
Yes.
And there'll be a little bit of change in the website, a little bit, pictures, Facebook, everything's going to kind of get updated a little bit.
Yes.
Not too much, but I think everything will be cleaner, more professional, I guess is the way to describe it, right?
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah, because you and I had some professional photographs taken a few weeks back by your brother-in-law, who is actually a professional photographer.
Right.
And yeah, man, we got a kind of a glimpse into how some of those turned out, and they were awesome.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
And so we're going to use those to kind of sprinkle in throughout the website. I'm also working on a resource page for Change Your POV, so there'll be a link at the top here soon, hopefully the next week or two. That it'll say resource, and you open it up, and I've broken it down into different categories. So
and things that you can do to help support our podcast.
That's right. Yes. We're going to be incorporating some of that as well. So 2017, we've got some big plans We've got some bead on some really great guests that we know.
Now the last thing real quick is yesterday you did an interview on another podcast.
Yes, I did.
Funniest thing with Daryl and Ed.
Yep.
And how did that go?
No, well, they have a different kind of it's
a live show.
It's a live show. Yeah. So they start the recording like at the top of the hour. It was 6:00 here on the East Coast. And then I connected with them on Skype before 6:00 just to make sure we had a good connection. And then I kind of got off the air and they started their show. And then when it came time for my portion, they called me back on Skype and I hopped on and I could see them and we went into our portion and we talked about, whatever we were talking about. And then, they had some different commercial spots in between there. So whenever there was a commercial, they would talk to me because the audience couldn't hear because it was a commercial.
Correct.
So it was weird doing a live show.
Yeah, it's on Unity FM.
Right.
Radio. But there's actual radio, then there's internet radio. And they also do YouTube. But great guys, man. They're a riot.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I'm glad that you were able to do that yesterday.
Yeah, it was cool. They said that they were working on their third veteran to come on the show. They had somebody originally that couldn't make it, and then you couldn't make it.
Two Marines. Two Marines.
Yeah, the Army guy came through for them, made it happen.
The only reason you came through is because I put you there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So they're like, who is this Eddie guy? And what is he like? Like, oh, whatever. He was recommended by Bennett, so I guess he's good to go.
See, because I'm highly regarded in that circle.
Yeah. How did you end up meeting him anyway?
I met Daryl at EBV.
Okay.
Just because he was one of the speakers.
Yeah.
He was one of the people that they brought in, Larry Broughton, who usually does that spot with EBV, was not able to make it that week. So he had recommended Daryl come, and Daryl talked about, business success and this, that, and the other things. He's done some things and is quite successful in his career and whatnot. And he was one of the talks, and him and I connected.
That's cool.
So, and he's a Coast Guard veteran.
Right.
And then Ed, I met him, obviously, Ed through Daryl, because they do the show together, and he's just a riot too. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
Check it out. Funniest thing with Daryl and Ed.
Funniest thing with Daryl and Ed.
And you can listen to Eddie on there is the last episode, and then you can go back and there's I don't know.
They do.
Probably been on.
They do a weekly
I've probably
show,
been on
right?
the show 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get on and read the Daily Word.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, man. It was cool. It was interesting. So yeah, I'll have to check them out. Now, are they able to be heard on
yes,
like a
so
regular?
you can go on iTunes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or any of their website. They have a YouTube channel as well. So
that's
yeah,
cool.
man. Yeah, so it's just like iTunes, just like a regular podcast. They release it later that day.
Yeah.
So it's not live. They record it. So you can listen to it live on Unity FM, or you can listen to it later as a podcast off of iTunes or Overcast or whoever.
Sure. Yeah. Cool, man.
So yeah, you can listen to yourself later today, because I know you will, because you like listening to yourself.
I do. Yeah, I was actually on another podcast not that long ago, called Winds, Butterflies of Wisdom. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Yeah.
No, I think you. I knew that you were on it, but I haven't listened to it yet because I don't know. Is it even released yet?
Oh yeah, it's released. They released it like a couple days after I recorded with them. So.
Did you send me the link or not?
No, I don't remember. I'll have to do that.
Maybe
I'll throw the link into the show notes of this.
There you go.
Very cool. All right,
Help
folks.
out some of our fellow podcasters.
Yeah, man. It's all good stuff. We all, what's the saying? Rising tide raises all ships, right?
Or how about this one? Birds of a feather flock together.
Nice way to tie that
Just
in.
to wrap it all in and tie it all up.
Nice
little bow for you yard bird lovers out there.
All right, folks. Go out and have yourself a great holiday this season. Be safe.
Turkey.
eat turkey or whatever other yard birds you might have laying around. Anything that's purple, like it's good stuff.
Velociraptor blue.
Tastes like
green.
chicken.
It all tastes like chicken.
It does. It does. Folks, you can well, yeah, you could listen to it as well, but you could find all the show notes for this episode. There won't be a whole lot of show notes, but we'll throw the links in there to Daryl and Ed and Wynn's Butterflies of Wisdom by heading over to the show notes page for this episode at changeyourpov.com/episode 127. Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. Come be a part of our community over at Change Your POV Squad. It's our Facebook group that we've set up especially for you. Past guests of the show, myself and Bennett, are there. Come on over, say hi, ask questions, leave comments, leave reviews, whatever. Speaking of leaving a review, we would really dig if you were to go over to iTunes and leave us an honest rating and review. And I say honest because I'm not really interested in just getting a whole bunch of
5-star fluff.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love 4 or 5-star reviews, but
go ahead and put 5 stars and then tell us what you really think, whether or not it's 5 stars.
Yeah, I want some honest feedback. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, is this helpful? Is it not helpful? Like, what do you get out of the show? What do you learn? Whatever. We're over, close to 14,000 downloads. So there's somebody out there listening to us, right? So I'd love to hear whoever you are. I want to know what you're thinking about this show. And that's it, man. And Bennett, you have an awesome Thanksgiving and unfortunately an awesome day at work, sir.
Yes.
I'll be thinking about you.
You'll actually be relaxing at work.
Yeah. Eating my yard bird. I'll think of you.
Nice.
All right, folks. You have a great holiday season, and we will talk at you next time.